Welcome in. It is WagerTalk Today. And yes, I am absolutely not the Prez. But lucky for you, we've got plenty of great things to talk about here today, including great slate of college basketball. We got some NBA games. We got plenty of Super Bowl props. We're going to hear from Art DiCesare live from the Westgate with the latest on what's happening in the market there at the Westgate. Where are the big bets coming in? What is the public looking at? And what are his, or at least some of his, favorite props heading into the big game on Sunday? Not to mention, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, VR. Gianni the Greek will be by for his customary Steam report here on WagerTalk Today. Shout out to the chat room. Those of you guys joining us here, have a cash. Andrew in the house, Titan CT, Johnny Detroit on his way in, as well as Big Daddy and company. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. Don't forget, smash that like button as you get in here. Big shout out to Peasy, too, joining us in YouTube Shorts. All right, we've got a lot to get to here, a lot to cover on what is a loaded week leading up to Sunday, and we're going to kick it off. And apparently I've lost a bet because here I am in the host chair. And guess who's next to me right now? Yes, Bryan Power. Doesn't get any better than this, folks. I must have really pissed somebody off here along the way. All right, good to see you, BP. Always a pleasure, man. Honestly, you're looking especially white today. Why don't we start with something that you can't screw up here, which I'm guessing, judging from Morning Wager, that you and Zinno, of course, have a opportunity for folks to hop on board with you guys, partner up with you, which would be a great thing since you guys are rolling right now. But talk to me about some college basketball here tonight, because I love a few of these games on tap, and I love what we've seen from Missouri as of late. And if you've been backing them, which I know you have, certainly in the first half, you've been cashing a ton of tickets here. This team is playing with Dennis Gates, some of the best basketball we have seen. The question is, getting a ton of points in Knoxville tonight, is it worth backing them in this spot against Tennessee?
You know, Joe, as luck would have it, I was at Dennis Gates' last home game at Cleveland State before he departed for Missouri. And I remember the scoreboard broke in that game, and he looked up to the sky and said, you can almost see in his eyes, will some Power 5 program please sweep me up and offer me more money so I can get out of this building, which doesn't have a working scoreboard. So good for him. He's in Missouri. This Missouri team, Joe, as you noted, is playing well. They have won 7 of 8. They just posted their biggest road win in terms of margin over another ranked opponent in school history, 88-61 over Mississippi State. The fact that Missouri won that game, Joe, I wasn't stunned, but the fact they won by 27 in Starkville was certainly eye-opening. Now, just to peel back the curtain, something I do every Monday when the new AP poll comes out for college hoops is I compare it to my own power rankings. Who's ranked too high? Who's too low? Is there a team I have in my top 25 that the pollsters don't? Conversely, is there a team in the top 25 that I don't think should be? And guess what? As good as Missouri is playing, I think they're a fringe top 25 team at best. Number 15 seems a little rich, and I think tonight, Joe, seems like a good sell-high spot as they face number 4 Tennessee on the road. It sounds like Ziegler and Milicic will be back for Tennessee tonight. Neither's on the injury report, and even without both those guys, look, you talk about impressive on Saturday. Tennessee beating Florida by 20 without 2 starters. Doesn't get much more impressive than that, in my opinion. Held them to 44 points here in Knoxville. And Missouri's team total, I want to look at the team total here, 63.5. And I think that's too high. Whether or not you think the spread for this game is too high, I think we all understand Tennessee always plays great defense. Ken Palm has them number 1 defensive rating, just 58.6 points per game allowed. And the one game Missouri lost over the last couple weeks, Joe, it was a 5% play for me. I took Texas against them. Mizzou scored just 53 points. I don't see the Tigers replicating the shooting from the weekend. They were 15 of 32 from 3, 55% overall from the field. Missouri team total under 63.5 is how I would play this one.
Yeah, I can't think of anything scarier than peeling back the curtain and seeing you. But let me ask the question here, Brian. I'll do my best Teddy Covers impersonation here. This feels like a big number for a team in Tennessee who offensively has been about as inconsistent as anybody in the SEC. Defensively, sure, they're going to bring it. Knoxville, good place to have. But you're asking, I mean, this is 8.5. I mean, maybe 9. We're talking a big number against a team that has dominated early and often, even on the road. Wins at Mississippi State over the weekend. They beat Florida in Gainesville, Missouri did. So the road is not a problem for Mizzou the way they're playing. It just feels like this is a crazy number to be laying with Tennessee, no?
Yeah, which is why I went to the alternate idea of the team total, because look, there is some obviously not confusion, but there's some uncertainty, I should say, with who's going to be starting for Tennessee tonight. Even if Ziegler comes back, we saw him, when Tennessee was laying a similar number to an injured Kentucky team. Ziegler was more harm than help in that game, Joe. I know you were watching that one. He couldn't make a shot. So that's why I don't want to lay it with Tennessee either. But I think if you look at this matchup, the two teams, what am I most certain about? It's Tennessee's ability to defend. Like I said, number 1 defensive rating in the country. They just held Florida to 44. Florida. I mean, that is quite the effort. So for the season, 58.6 points per game allowed. We've got a number of 63.5 for Missouri. Whether or not Tennessee covers, I don't care. I don't think Missouri's scoring 64 points tonight.
All right, there it is. Keep it under with the team total for Mizzou tonight in Knoxville. Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Follow us, by the way. Those of you joining us this morning on TikTok, we got Buckeye in the house there. DJ Sixers, Nate is in the house. Daniel Herrera, pleasure to see you guys. Make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't done so already. We got some NBA games tonight. Big card here. Great card, in fact. Always dangerous, though, BP, to be looking. We're, 48 hours? Less than actually 24 hours away from a trade deadline. We're still all trying to come to grips with Doncic being in a Laker uniform on the sideline last night. Now there's rumors Durant's already been listed as doubtful for tonight for Phoenix. Could he be on the move? So it is a little treacherous trying to bet the NBA over the next 24 hours, except, well, I guess unless, of course, you're Oklahoma City, right? Because I don't think they have to worry about anybody not being on the team in 24 hours. What are you looking at in this matchup tonight?
So obviously some of the steam's been taken out. Durant's name on the injury report. You mentioned he's listed as doubtful. So doesn't sound like he's going to play against his former team here. And that's just awful news for a Suns team that lost back-to-back games in Portland. I know the Blazers have been playing better as of late, Joe, a lot better, quite frankly. But you look at the Suns season. This team is a league worst 17-31-1 against spread. On the flip side, OKC, best straight-up record in the league, best ATS record in the league. They've won 24 of 28 overall, and the last 2 wins have been by a combined 63 points, both here at home. And what's most impressive about that margin of victory, that combined margin of victory, SGA didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter, either game. And they're beating teams by a combined 63 points. That's pretty crazy. And they were competent teams, too, Sacramento and Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee had some absences, but still. So I'm not surprised we've got the big number here. I would still lay it, though. Earlier in the season, OKC beat Phoenix by 16, and Durant didn't play that game. And consider for the season, guys, you look at Oklahoma City's point differential, that column, they outscore teams by 12.7 points per game. You consider that, this number's not so big. I would lay it with OKC. They are on a mission this season. Phoenix, just a real disappointment, obviously, overall. And I think this, we don't know what's going to happen with Durant, but I think that uncertainty might just lead to a bad all-around effort from the team. I mean, they might be wondering, hey, are we tanking? Are we rebuilding? What? So Oklahoma City should roll.
Like an OKC to get it done against Phoenix here tonight. Again, there could be a 3-team trade. KD could be going to Golden State. Jimmy Butler could be going to Phoenix. I mean, there's all sorts of craziness happening. And, of course, Wiggins could end up in Miami. That was at least the latest report that we're hearing. Time will tell here in the association. All right, BP, we've got plenty going on Sunday here. Props continue to come rolling in here. No matter how you think this game is going to turn out from a side and total perspective, there are some intriguing props, and I think yours is very interesting here because I've seen a lot of people go the other way on this prop. So break it down for us here. This big Super Bowl prop with longest rush for Mahomes. What are you thinking?
So I'll apologize in advance to the people here, Joe, because betting this prop this way will make for really an uncomfortable 3+ hours because every time Mahomes drops back to pass, we're going to have to worry about the possibility of him scrambling and breaking a long run. However, allow me to inform all of you who may think Patrick Mahomes is due to break a long run. All season long, Joe, just two runs of longer than 15 yards. And there have been only 6 games where he would have cleared this number of 13.5. You look at the Eagles defense, allow me to be the last to inform you, it's very good overall. And there have been just 4 instances all season where an opposing quarterback had a run of more than 11 yards against him. 2 of them were Jaden Daniels, obviously, as good of a scrambling quarterback as there is. One of those was the NFC Championship game. Another was Lamar Jackson, who, if it's Daniels isn't the best scrambling quarterback, it's Jackson. And then the other this shocked me, was by Matthew Stafford, of all people. I wanted to go, it was a broken play. I went searching for I was like, what? Matthew Stafford had a 15-yard run. It was a broken play. So I don't know. It counts, but not really. So I'm willing to bet Mahomes doesn't join the list. I think his total number of rushing yards, I know people, when you look at the total number of rushing yards for these quarterbacks, people have been highlighting the idea, okay, be careful, guys, because whoever's winning may take some knees, and that's going to subtract from the rushing yards. If this prop is too scary for you, if you don't want to just be nervous every time Mahomes drop back to pass, I would look at under 29.5 total rush yards, but personally, I prefer longest rush under 13.5 yards. Only reason I haven't personally bet it yet, I'm willing to see if it moves a little higher. You mentioned that people like the over on this. I want to see if it goes to 14, maybe 14.5, and then I'll hit the under at that point. But I don't think Mahomes breaks one in this game, Joe. Just don't.
We had an unbiased prop pick earlier this week from the Eagle side there. We had a Eagle fan that was very unbiased and chose to look at a Patrick Mahomes over prop, in fact. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan, I am fairly certain that you went over in that prop. Did you not here?
Yes, sir. It's just a straight up head-to-head, me versus BP. Same exact number, same exact thing. Get the boxing gloves out, Joe, because it's me versus BP. I took the over. I don't understand how you're going to make a case for the under and say Matt Stafford went over this number and have it somehow work for you on this one, BP. Come on, man. So you and I will be chirping each other for more reasons than one this Sunday.
Dan, you've produced many shows that I've been on before. You know that's right in my wheelhouse.
Yes.
To say, well, Matt, yes, Matt. Hey, we're using the Matt Stafford. We're throwing that one out the window. I like this. Now this is going to be even more fun. Now I'm going to be every time he drops back to pass, I'm going to be zeroed in. No way, Mahomes. I think he's going to be in trouble. This Eagles defense, they're going to box him in. He's not breaking one. He might.
Well, I'll just say, and then Joe, we can get back to the show and have some decorum. The problem last week for the Bills was they couldn't stop Pat Mahomes' legs. It had nothing to do with his arms. So I don't know, man. I think this Eagles team is always a better defense for one.
Spoken like a fan of the team. I have tremendous faith in what Vic Fangio and this defense brings to the table. I think there aren't a lot of Kansas City over props I like, really, quite frankly, in this game.
I don't like many over props in the game, but this is one, Joe, that BP and I will not be sticking on. Hop in the chat, BP versus Dan. Whose side are we on here on the prop? Let's go.
Just give me a hashtag BP or a hashtag Dan. Who do you guys think is going to be victorious? Over or under the 13.5 yards here for Patrick Mahomes' longest rush? Now, the good news is, BP, we don't have to take all of your props. Because you do have a partner in crime on Morning Wager, and you two guys have actually teamed up, I believe. You guys have been crushing it, you and Zeno, right now, and we got a little Morning Wager Super Bowl buy one, get one. Is that what we got going on here?
Yes, and I will point out after you two have tag teamed against me here. Last year we released one Super Bowl prop. It was Kyle Juszczyk over half a reception. Joe, that play cashed on the second play from scrimmage. It was very nice, and then we won the 49ers first half in the money line, so I was able to sit back and enjoy my winnings in the second half there after halftime. 3-0 the last two Super Bowls am I. 6-0 the last 4 times the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl. 68% NFL run since Christmas overall. And yes, as you see right there, Mark Zinno and I, you can get all of our Super Bowl selections, the two of us. That is 7 plays total for just $69. That's less than $10 per play, if my math is correct, Joe. And each of us has a 5% play included there. So you're basically, 2 5% plays on their own would run you 70. So you're basically getting 5 plays for free. And just to clarify here, none of the plays are the same. None are against each other, obviously. So you're getting 7 different wagers for the Super Bowl for just $69 from Mark and I. Of course, check out the Morning Wager every single day, Monday through Friday, here on WagerTalk TV.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting. And by the way, guys, a new edition of Morning Wager is available right now if you guys haven't checked it out. Those two have been crushing it, both Bryan Power and Mark Zinno. Guys, I'd encourage you guys to take a look at it. You can check it out in the description, point you right to it on our Wager Talk YouTube page, The Morning Wager. BP, always a pleasure, man. Time will tell whether Dan gets to stick it right in your face there come Monday. But we appreciate the time as always, guys. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging with us. Shout out to IG as well as TikTok here. I believe somebody in the chat wanted to know, was it Chris, wanted to know whether or not the Prez is out making TikTok videos. Chris, I'm going to let the chat room answer that one for you. I'm going to avoid that at all costs here because when it comes to TikTok videos, there's only one dude who I am following and who I would watch, and that would be, of course, the prop god himself, Mr. Andy Lang, in the house, ready to roll. It's the only dude worth following there on TikTok. Andy, pleasure to see you, man. Been a slow week for you here this week leading up to the big game. What you got going on here?
It is. It really is the biggest week betting for us. So starts. It really picks up tomorrow. The Premier League of Darts starts tomorrow. The Phoenix Open starts tomorrow. The very first live golf event of the year starts tomorrow. We already have a lacrosse play up. We already have Super Bowl props up. We have a 5% UFC play that is up. And I have a funny story for you, Joe. So Saturday, super busy. We've got UFC. We've got the busiest day at the Golf Open. We've got NBA and NHL. And my dear sweet mother got me and my wife cheese making lessons Saturday at 3 p.m.
Oh, my goodness. How are you going? I don't know how you say no to that. You got to get involved. And listen, got to do a lot of juggling here, Andy, a lot of juggling here this week. But think about how much better off you'll be for it when you get those lessons under your belt.
That is not a joke. We will be making Gouda cheese while Scotty Scheffler is playing golf, while the UFC event is ready to kick off.
Yes,
but hey,
yeah.
You
just gave me an idea.
Women in my life.
I love that. I know what I'm going to get BP this weekend. I'm going to get him a little homemade from under. So Andy, let's talk here a little bit about the upcoming golf tournament, if we could, because this week, the Phoenix Open getting ready. It is, as a matter of fact, I talked to one of the reporters early this morning who was there, SWAT, police. There's no golf today. It's just a pro-am. And the cops are apparently everywhere, expecting nothing but craziness at this tournament, the Waste Management Open. A lot of different ways you're going to it's not a signature event, but there's still a lot of the top 25 guys here. So how did you break this tournament down?
Well, so it's gotten so crazy over the last few years that Rory McIlroy and Victor Hovland just withdrew this year. They were like, it's too much. Like it's too out of control. Like last year it rained and people were sliding down hills in the mud with no shirts on. I mean, it just got crazy. If you guys have not watched this, It is must-watch television. The gates open at like 5 a.m. Like the first golfer doesn't tee off till like 8 a.m. The gates open at 5 a.m. It is a mad dash. People are in costumes, and the drinking of adult beverages starts immediately. It is a nonstop party. It's on the 16th hole, and then by the end of the day, the carnage has spread out over the course, and you will hear, even on the broadcast, you will hear some of the craziest things. If we're lucky enough to get a hole-in-one on the 16th hole, it's mass chaos. It's complete anarchy there. So the good news about this week, Joe, is it's beautiful weather. It's a little bit dry. Ball is going to roll on the fairways, but I think the greens are going to be a little bit tougher to get the ball to stop on. They've grown out the rough a little bit more. And listen, this is a Scotty Scheffler course if I've ever seen it. His last three finishes are like third win. Justin Thomas plays really good here. It's going to be top heavy. It always is. You don't look for long shots at this tournament. So free play, you got to take Justin Thomas top 20. Joe, he just loves this place. He's finished 17th or better in 7 straight years. You have to go back to like when he was like a young guy, like 2017, to find his last time that he didn't finish in the top 20 here. He's 6th in this field in total strokes gained this season. And without guys like McIlroy and Hovland, it is kind of a weaker field once you get outside the top tier guys. So, he's the second favorite to win behind Scotty Scheffler. So the books are telling you they expect him to be competing for the win. So we're getting a really nice price on top 20. And when you're playing top 20s, I always include ties. So that way, if there's like 4 or 5 guys that are tied for 20th, you get paid out on full. You pay a little bit of extra juice, but it's like 20 or 30 cents, and it's absolutely worth it. So I'm high on Justin Thomas this year. I think he has a resurgence year, and it starts this week.
Listen, courses for the horses there, and he loves that place. You're right about that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. By the way, shout out to Nick Taylor at 125-1 last year, who won the damn thing, Andy, because I was with you. I'm like, can't go down the board. It's going to be chalk. Yeah, it was 125-1 last year. Way to go.
What was weird was he finished up runner-up the year before.
Yep.
It wasn't like he was complete. He had won the Canadian Open. Like this was not a complete nobody. The odds were pretty crazy, but like this was certainly not that big of a surprise. So very, very funny.
That was what they call value last year at 125-1. We'll see what happens here. That, of course, kicks off tomorrow. And you can check out all the picks there from Andy on his page over at WagerTalk.com, where there are already questions are piling up in the chat here, Andy. So we've got to get to it because you kind of led them down that path. You said the word darts. All right. Yeah. Come on. Talk to us, man. Where are you looking here today?
Okay. So a couple questions in the chat. Are darts included in the premium package? Get the 7-day special. I'll talk about the 7-day special, but all access clients get these darts plays. It's the very first event of the Premier League of Darts. They play this every Thursday. Joe, this thing goes till the end of May. Like we're in line. Yeah, we're in line for like 3 or 4 months of nonstop darts plays on Thursdays. These guys play legs and not sets. That's a very, very big thing to understand. Corbin and I will put out a preview video on there. For the free play, I'm going to go to the matchup between Nathan Aspinall and Luke Humphreys, and I'm actually going to take Nathan Aspinall plus 2.5. So this is 1st to 6. So all Nathan Aspinall has to do is win 4 legs here. And here's the thing. Luke Humphreys, when he plays matches that are about legs, he really doesn't dominate. The last time he played one, he actually lost. And then the time before that, he won 7-6. The time before that, he won 6-5, and that was against Nathan Aspinall. So Nathan Aspinall very easily cleared this one. And then before that, he wiped the floor with a no-name. But you look at Aspinall, and, Aspinall in games that he plays legs, he does pretty good. He won here. He lost only by 1, but before that at the Bahrain Darts Masters, he won 6-2. I just like the focus that Aspinall has right now, and it's the very first week. And here's the other thing about Premier League. These guys are all friends. It's kind of a showcase type of thing. Like, you have to play pretty bad to get waxed in this format. So as long as Aspinall brings his A game, I think he covers the spread. I think we get like a 1-game type of match here. So give me Aspinall plus 2.5 on the spread.
I love it. There you go. You guys wanted darts. You've got darts. Now hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Andy is going to tell us about that 7-day special, which will include all the darts, all the golf, as well as, of course, the big game. But you got an NBA prop also here tonight for us in a loaded NBA slate. Tell us about it.
NBA has quietly been a huge bankroll builder for us. We're on a 13-4 run in NBA, clean sweep on Monday, and we're going to look to Miles Bridges going under 2.5 made three-pointers. Joe, he's ice cold right now, under in 7 straight games. He's shooting under 20% from threes the last 5 games. He's only attempting 7 3-point attempts. So if you're shooting 20% and you're barely getting to 7 attempts, this is a big, big ask to try and get to 3 made three-pointers. Pounds of muscle, just a slight little difference there. 7-day special. Listen, guys, we're on a 45-17 run, and we're the number 1 handicapper the last 2 years. We've shown long-term, we've shown short-term that we can build your bankroll. All these plays that we put out, we bet with our own bankrolls. The last 2.5 weeks, we're up 40 units. So the bankrolls are doing great. And it all starts tomorrow. And every single play that we put out for 7 days, you'll get. We have a 5% UFC play that is up. We're number 1 in MMA this year. Darts plays, we're up 28 units in darts the last 2 months. You get NBA. Mentioned the run that we're on there, NHL, Super Bowl, darts, and lacrosse as well. All those plays go off this weekend. So it is a huge, huge weekend. Do yourself and your bankroll a favor. Take advantage of this 30% discount on 7 days. WT.buzz/AL.
Makes all the sense in the world there. Andy, always a pleasure, brother. Go ahead, get them bullseyes, man. We'll look forward to seeing the double-double there with Aspinall. Maybe he'll play basketball, and you can get props in that too as well, Andy. Always a pleasure, brother. If you haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Hit the damn like button, please. Do the thing with the buttons. You guys know how it works. Hit that subscribe if you haven't done so already. Shout out to Jake in the chat room. Always a pleasure. Line G in the house. David Silva here. You got to love a dude named Mr. Bronzer 27 Offsuit. Outstanding name that you spent that much time typing it in for a handle. You will not find that much craziness in the handle of one Art DiCesare, who is joining us, of course, like he does each and every week, not just here, but all throughout the football season. From the Westgate, he was nice enough to hang with us on last call. And what do you got going on, Art? Anything happening over at the Westgate? Kind of vacation time? What are you doing, man?
Oh, yeah, Joe. I've been off all week. I'm going to get my tan on. I don't look stressed out at all, right? I mean, this is only a tiny week for me.
Yeah, a little something going on Sunday, I think. So let's go that route. And let's start because I think we've started to see finally some of that Philadelphia money hit the market here in a number of spots across the country. What are you seeing at the Westgate? You starting to see Eagle money on the side come in now?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And let's just start with our opener. We obviously opened Kansas City 1.5. We had a total of 50. And we've been 1.5 pretty steady and saw a lot of Kansas City public money come in. But you're right. You're starting to see the Philly money come in. You're starting to see it on the plus money with that money line. Plus 105. We're now even. So when you have a spread in the 1 range, you're going to see a lot of people take that shot with the plus money on Philly. We've seen good sharp under money come in, moving the total from 50 to 49. This happens every year. The Super Bowl total's inflated. The sharps bet it under. This week, the public will come in, and they will bet it over. And obviously, because the game is so public heavy with public money, it can dictate a move. It wouldn't shock me if it ticked back up to 49.5, and then we kind of played a yo-yo with that. But I don't think we ever get back to 50. I think we're going to be going back from 48.5 to 49.5. 49, we're going to kind of play that middle game.
When do you usually see that public, especially with the total, right, Art? We know the over money is coming from the Is it usually Saturday? Is it right up until kickoff on Sunday? Because there's a lot. The prevailing thought is that they're going to wait to see how far the public bets it, and then the pros are going to come in and hammer the under late. What are you thinking we're going to see here?
Yeah, I think that's always how it goes, Joe. And especially with our opener of 50, you saw the Sharps come in and say, hey, maybe we never get back to 50. So let's get there. Now, there could be some people who come back in late and take under 49.5 if we get back up there. Once again, I don't know if we're getting pushed to 50 again. But to answer your original question, you start to see it Friday. All day Saturday is when the public is going to bet everything over, whether it's props, whether it's game total, and that will lead right up to kickoff. I don't think you're going to see anything but over money come in because people just saw this game, and this game was in the 70s. So they look at it like that. They just look at the matchup. They don't realize how great maybe the Eagles' defense is compared to last time, and how the Chiefs' offense really isn't what it was last time. So public's going to come in and bet this over. There's no doubt.
So we know there's, 100 ways to Sunday here in the prop betting market here. Nobody does it better than you guys there at the Westgate. I'm still working through your 950-page booklet of props there, Art. But give us an idea of, it's obviously changed over the years a little bit, but give us an idea of what kind of action are you seeing in the prop market? What are some of the ones that seem to be more popular than others? What are you seeing thus far?
Obviously, the props is a big deal for us. And, when you offer over 500 props in a huge packet, it's going to be even more so than the game. You usually, you can get to a point where you almost write as much on the props as you do on side and total. And, I just look at it like this. The public is going to come in and bet the things they know. To score a touchdown, first touchdown score, players they know, whether that's Kelsey, Mahomes, Hurts, Barkley, they're going to stick to those type of things. But the sharp guys come in and they look for other things. A couple of examples of that would be total receptions by any player in the game. So both teams combined, they're taking under 13.5. We opened that minus 110 flat. We're now sitting minus 160 on that. Kansas City Chief over sacks. Over 2.5, it was plus 110. That's now minus 120, sharp money. 3 straight scores, which is very popular with the public, but the public usually gets in on that a little late. Sharps came in late, minus 150 for yes. We're now up to minus 180 on that. So you see the Sharps come in and want to take that. Very popular with the public is, will there be an octopus? Guy to score a touchdown and to get the 2-point conversion on the same scoring drive. That is a very popular prop. Mahomes' rushing yards has been bet up from 28.5 to 31.5. Hurts' incompletions has been bet up from 8.5 to 9.5. Those are also both very sharp. Barkley longest rush in the game. We opened 25.5. Sharps bet that to 24.5. Now to 23.5. So you've seen a 2-yard move to the under on his longest rush. And they've also bet Kelsey no touchdown, minus 150, up to minus 170. When the public gets involved, they are going to bet Kelsey yes. We know that is going to happen. He'll be one of the most popular yes touchdown props of the day, maybe even the most popular one, even more so maybe than Barkley because of the better plus money that you're going to get on Kelsey.
Did you see any at all as far as the MVP goes? Because I know a lot of guys that are, if Kansas City wins, give it to Mahomes. If it's anywhere decent, just bet them. If it's the Eagles that win this, it's not as cut and dry as just give it to Jalen Hurts, right? Because if the Eagles win it, it could very well be finally a running back, and Barkley could be in the running for that at some plus money. So have you seen anybody leaning one way or the other in the MVP market?
We always see, and you hit it, Joe, when you like a team, a lot of people go with, hey, just bet the quarterback, and maybe you get a better price. Maybe instead of laying, I don't know, minus 130 on Kansas City on the money line, you take Mahomes plus 110 to win the MVP. Because if they win, he's probably going to be the MVP. A little bit different with the Eagles. You mentioned it. There hasn't been a running back who's won the MVP since Terrell Davis back in the late 90s. It's been a long time. Defensive guys have won. Receivers have won. Obviously, the quarterback always is going to lead the way with that. But Barkley at plus 275, just under 3-1, has seen a lot more action than Hurts. Because I think the bettors look at, if Philly wins, Barkley's going to be a main contributor to that like he's been all year and all postseason. And Hurts sometimes can have weird games. Despite the last time when they played, if Philly wins, he's the MVP of the game. He played great in that game. So I think it's interesting that people are taking more of a shot now with Barkley because the price is a little bit higher than, obviously Hurts. And people feel, hey, let's take a shot with plus 275.
Yeah, well, let's listen. If you need, and even Dan, the most unbiased Eagle fan you will ever meet, says if Jalen Hurts has got to win this game for you, something has gone terribly wrong here for Philadelphia all day long. All right, Art, tell the folks, of course, all week long on X, as well as hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you or hear from you again on Last Call on this weekend. But tell folks how they can reach you, man.
Yeah, as always, guys, listen on X at ArtDice21. I'm usually all over that. I'm a little bit on Instagram, too, doing the same thing. And, yeah, I should be on Last Call this Saturday. We'll do some college basketball. We'll do some last-minute updates on props and the game leading up to Sunday. And as always, if anyone's in town for the Super Bowl, it's obviously a very busy week. But don't feel you can't come by and ask me. If I have a couple of minutes, I'll pop out and say hi. I always like to do that.
Awesome, Art DiCesare, Art Dice. Always a pleasure to see you, brother. Get back to work. I know you're just getting off of vacation. It's nice. With anybody else other than our man Gianni the Greek VR in the house. What's going on? Busy week for you, Gianni?
Yeah.
Just kicking back?
Yeah, even look at the scruff. I got to go tape a live show at the UFC tonight because it's going to be shown live in Australia because that's where they're fighting. So I got to do it like 8 at night there. But so I'm like, I just can't. All I'm doing is betting, Joe. Honestly, I bet 31 props already. I've only released 9 to subscribers, but 31 props. They're just firing, man. They just firing. And very few are opposites. Like sometimes you'll see groups disagree because the line moves significantly. But I'm getting almost none of that. The only one that's really sticking out as far as the over or like one side likes one side likes the other is the fourth down conversions on the Eagles, where one's saying over 1.5, the other saying under 1.5. But everything else has pretty much been one-sided by the betting syndicates, and I like when that happens. That's usually the best results for Super Bowls when they're all seeing it the same way, like seeing it that line's off, that's inefficient, and they fire. Those have always produced the best results, unless it's just like, a crazy Super Bowl that goes unexpected, unaccording to plan.
Yep.
But like I said, historically, when this happens, they've been good results. That's why I've had no problem releasing as many as 9 already, even though I'm trying to keep it as low volume as possible, day by day with subscribers. So yeah, really excited about this week. Big UFC card on Saturday. Get you ready for Sunday. And just betting basketball pretty much every day.
Are you seeing? Are you starting to get a lot of those cross sports parlays in from your guys? I mean, are we looking UFC and the game? I mean, have you seen some of that come in yet?
Nothing at all. They don't bet. I mean, maybe Sunday they may see some of the lines that the recreational bettors knocked out of whack, so they have to get involved. But it's almost never that, like where they try to get creative with it. Because there's just a lot of randomness to those. Like you have to determine how 2 different people are going to perform on that day in those hours. Instead, they try to look at the big sample size of whether this guy's going to record a sack or not. Historically, how many does he record based on these minutes and how many formations? Like they're trying to piece the puzzle together like that. Rushing yards over, under per player, receiving yards over, under, receptions over, under. Those are the things that they focus on the most, because you got to remember they have now a huge sample size of games. Even though the NFL is one of the smallest schedules, they play 160 whatever baseball games. They play 17, 18 NFL games. If you add the playoffs, a little more. But you're rushing so many times. You're throwing the ball so many times. You're catching the ball so many times. So they have a big sample size of data per player, and that's what they're focusing on. Almost zero. I'm trying to look now. And it's almost zero even game props. Those will usually come in the weekend where, like I said, Red Public knocks them out of whack because they like to take the big plus money on safeties, on overtimes, on those long shot odds. And then these guys will come in and take advantage of that. They'll lay the minus 500 when they think it should be minus 800. But otherwise, it's been strictly The only game prop I saw, forgive me, is the under 1.5 yards for the shortest touchdown, which is an automatic bet for the betting syndicates because, again, pass interference in the end zone, you put it on the 1 yard line. It usually happens like that. So they bet that almost every single Super Bowl. And other than that, like I said, it's been strictly taking advantage of the players, not even really the teams, except I did see one, KC to have more interceptions. Interceptions, even though they did bet Jalen Hurts over half an interception at plus money. They did take KC to have more interceptions, but at like plus 300. So, I mean, that bet's got to win, 1 out of 3 times to be profitable. So that's where they see it like that. With bets like that, again, when you get a plus 300, plus 400, you're not going to cash that very often. You got to know going in, even when you're running your hottest, you're going to throw that ticket out 60%, 65% of the time. But it's that 35% where you have the edge because it should only be 20% of the time you cash that ticket. These guys are comfortable throwing away tickets if they place a good bet. And more times than not, when the dust settles long term, those tend to play out correctly for them. So they're not afraid to take that big plus money, just like they're not afraid to lay the chalk. To them, it's all about what's the number compared to our implied probability. If it's off, they fire. If it isn't, their opinion means nothing. They have zero opinion. They could care less who wins the game. Or like I said, except for a side bet, I haven't seen much else. And the side bet, even though I have a 5%, I'm going to have already probably 20% worth of in action in props. So obviously I want to hit the big bet, but what's going to determine my day is how those props do ultimately.
So I got to ask you, because you had mentioned that you saw some bets come in on the amount of fourth down conversions, right? Am I to believe then that we're also seeing some fading of the kicking props? If that's the case, if we're going for it on fourth down a lot, we're not kicking a lot, right? Is that how it's correlated?
Yeah, you would think so, because they did it on the Philadelphia side. They haven't done it on the Kansas City side. In fact, they bet on the Kansas City side, they expect the Eagles to get stops and Kansas City to kick some field goals. I'll tell you now, I actually did that, gave out that bet, the Harrison Butler over 1.5 field goals. Again, 2 field goals, you ain't asking a lot from him, but they are expecting some stops from the Eagles for sure. And they even bet the Eagles to have over 5.5 third down conversions at plus money. And they're willing to take that up to minus 120. Actually, I was able to find plus money. But so they expect them, even though they expect them to get a lot of 6 or more third down conversions, they bet against them. The team, the group I respect more bet the under on fourth down conversions. And I think it's more regression towards the mean. If I remember correctly, I think the Eagles have converted a little more, not like the Washington Commanders have done, but they've converted more fourth downs, and with the tush push and all that, how they, Barkley at short distance, they're willing to go for it more. But I think they thought the number was skewed, because when they're willing to bet lay minus 150, that there's less than 1.5 fourth down conversions on the Eagles, that's saying they believe there's a higher than 60% probability, because they have to have an edge or they're not going to bet it. So they expect, close to 6.5 out of 10 times that this will not happen. The Eagles will not convert 2 or more fourth down conversions. So it's real interesting. I like to then look at it all together and see how do they see it, because sometimes it gives you a clear picture of at least how the guys that get the most respect expect this game to play out. Slow, fast, and that helps you with the total, with team totals, and even other props. So that's what I've been trying to piece that puzzle together. Are they telling me a story that is so obvious? And if it is, bet it. Because, again, a lot of things seem to be the same. And I'll tell real quickly, like Jalen Hurts, they expect him to have over a half an interception. And because he's done so well, they expect him to regress towards the mean, and it makes perfect sense. Now, he may not regress to the mean in that 160-minute game, but they're saying he's so has exceeded expectations, market expectations, and defied probability so much based on his pass attempts. Like, if you have this many pass attempts, you should have this many interceptions. He's been able to outperform that measure. So they believe the regression's warranted. So they'll go ahead and bet that, like Jalen Hurts over a half an interception. Same thing, Jalen Hurts under, an anytime touchdown. Because of how well he's done, and they're willing to give him the ball, they're willing to place that bet. So it's not a bias against any single player, but it's more of what have they done, and do we expect that to continue? or have they outperformed the betting market? How are they, a standard deviation or so above what we expect from them? So should they come back down to earth? I think that's the conclusion that these guys are trying to get to. Like, will this continue, or is it something that will regress? I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it just seems like that over and over and over again. Every day, the props seem to be on players that are outperforming the number or are expected to continue doing that dominance that they've done. So it's really interesting to see how they see that.
Yeah, and it makes total sense, because these guys, I'm sure, are looking at Andy Reid and Sirianni and Fangio and Spagnuolo going, how are they approaching this game and how could it differ? What's going to give us the best? If a team is so dedicated to running the ball like Philadelphia, they're going to see more third downs, Gianni, because they're not passing the ball nearly as much. So chances are they're going to have more opportunities to convert on third downs and so on and so forth. So, we're not throwing shit against the wall. They're not throwing shit against the wall. There's actually a method behind the madness here, which reminds me, before we dive into some of this gold and steam that you've seen on the hardwood,
yep.
You got to love it. You ain't going to find this anywhere, folks. Anywhere, no place else are you going to be offered the opportunity to do and partner with Gianni and learn from the best when it comes to not sports, Gianni. Blackjack, my man. Your pride and joy, man. Tell us about what folks can get involved with.
I swear to you, Joe, on everything sacred to me. If I could just play blackjack every day, I would do nothing else. I wouldn't even bet sports. I would just go down to the casino, order my coffee, play 4 to 6 hours. I know I'm going to make about 600 to 800 bets. That's more than enough. I'm not going to win every day, but if I do that 5 days a week, I'm going to make 3,000 to 4,000 bets a week. After a month, I'm going to be up. There's nothing they could do to stop me. You know what I mean? That's just how the math's going to play out, as long as I bet size correctly and make the right choice every time. And you only have 4 choices in blackjack: stand, hit, double down, and split. That's it. 4 choices. There's nothing else you have to do. So it's a beatable game because it doesn't have memory, because it has memory. Forgive me. The other games don't. What you threw in the dice last doesn't affect what you're going to throw in the dice next. But in blackjack, if after the first hand 8 aces go out in double deck, the chances of a blackjack are 0 for the rest of the game. Yep. There's no other game on the casino floor that offers you that opportunity. I worked with the best. I worked with a team. I took a course that cost me 5 dimes to make sure I knew what I was doing. And I just got tired of not being able to play. That's why I really haven't played. I'll play on occasion, but it happened to me a few weeks ago. I was with my girl. I went to play, and they kicked me out. And I said, dude, I'm going to finally do it because she's more technically savvy. That's why I've never put it together. I said, I'm going to reach out to Johnny, put a course together, and teach as many people as want to learn how to do this so they could go get my revenge for me, because I'm prepared to play this weekend at the Super Bowl. There's so many people there, I'll be able to sneak in. So I wait for opportunities like this. But it's 1, 2, 3 times a year that I could actually play for bigger money without being tossed, hopefully not being tossed. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer that course. I'm going to make you the favorite against the casino just like I am. You're going to have to practice it at home, of course. But anyone that's with me for a year, they're going to get it for free. So whatever the subscription is for the year, the blackjack course is like $1,000. And most of them are 5 dimes. If you want to take a real blackjack course from an advantage group, they're going to charge you probably 5 dimes. That's what I paid at least. And that's what I'm going to do. And as a bonus, anyone that comes out here to Vegas that has that yearly subscription and wants to go play, I will stand behind them, watch them play for an hour, take them to lunch, and critique their play. Tell you what I think you're doing right, what I think you're doing wrong. And I want to make as many people as want to be favorites versus the casino in the game of blackjack as possible. And even for my sports betting guys that aren't planning on doing this, I promise you, come to the course. It's free anyway. And what's going to happen is you're going to learn a lot that carries over to sports betting, because it's we fight the demons. Just like you fight the demons at the blackjack table, you got to fight the demons in sports betting. You know what I mean? Don't overbet. Don't chase. It's all the same. It's once you have an edge, it's about not making mistakes. So not to go long, I promise you, you will get, I'm prepared to teach anyone that's willing to learn, as long as they know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Those are the 4 things you need to do. I will teach you when to hit, when to stand, when to double down, when to split, and how much to bet. I will teach you perfect. I will give you the edge where you're the favorite versus the casino. And my history there speaks for itself. The fact that I can't play tells you everything you need to know. And I'm not a wealthy man. by any stretch. I came here with $600. So the fact that I buy in, sometimes the last one I got kicked out of Ari, I bought in for like $500, $1,000. What am I going to beat you for? The most I had in my pocket was probably 3-4 dimes. Like they have unlimited bankroll, but the fact that they don't let me play should tell you everything you need to know about becoming the favorite at the casino. So join me for that course. I promise you, you will get a lot out of it. Thank you. Thank you for letting me do that, Joe.
I mean, for that price, Gianni, just the ability to be able to learn bankroll management and how it crosses over is worth the price, especially if you're somebody that struggles with chasing and doesn't understand when to push in, I mean, you don't even have to play a hand of blackjack to understand and pull that info out. Knowledge is power, Gianni. That is what it is all about. You can't put a price tag on that, my friend. Outstanding. Now tell us, NBA, college hoops, hardwood here. What do we got rolling tonight?
Yeah, because I know that's why you're here. Keep in mind, by the end of the day, the sheet looks like this. Right now, it looks like this. So it's going to be filled in a lot more between now and the late afternoon. But here's what we got so far. I haven't released a premium yet. I released a prop, but not a premium on any of these. Still digging in. Here comes NBA. 539 over 216.5. Miami, Philadelphia. 549 over 226.5. Phoenix, Oklahoma City. And 541 San Antonio Spurs minus the 3.5. And then college basketball, 671 Eastern Tennessee State minus the 6.5, 698 Missouri State plus the 4.5, 720 Syracuse plus 18.5, 739 Rutgers plus 8, 742 Bradley minus 7. Two totals for you: 721 over 144 Cincinnati Wake Forest, and 750 under 147 SMU Virginia. In the added board, there's a total on the under 148 Queens and Central Arkansas, but those usually move too much. That's why I'm almost never able to give them to subscribers, because with those extra board games, it's usually the sports book versus the wise guy. No one, unless you went to Central Arkansas or you're a fan of the team, you're probably not betting Central Arkansas game. So that's why those are hard to get down on and get good numbers.
Yeah, most people don't even know where Queens Royals is. So, yes, I'm with you there. Yanni, there's only a handful of people betting those games.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't name a player on both of those teams. I couldn't name the coach on either of those teams. The fact Central Arkansas is in the name is the only reason I can tell you Central Arkansas is probably located in Arkansas. And I'm not even 100% sure. I'm not even 100% sure.
Yeah, it could be in Alabama. You never know these days. You really don't, my man. Gianni the Greek, man, always a pleasure, brother. We appreciate the time as always. You got it. Guys, take advantage of that opportunity. Visit him now over his page at WagerTalk. Take advantage of the opportunity. Man, it all comes together. That kind of knowledge and experience, you can't put a price tag on it. You really can. Great course, great opportunity, even if you don't play blackjack. The fundamentals of the bankroll management and when to bet and when not to bet, worth every penny, guys. Check it out over on his page at WagerTalk.com. All right. Have you hit the like button yet? All right, good. Thank you very much. Hit that subscribe button as well. Shout out to David, Lino in the house. Philly Bets over in TikTok. Good to see you as always here, my man. Jimmy's here. Joe M is here, Lancer, Rico in the house. You guys are great. We hit the follow button if you haven't done so already, by the way, over on Instagram and TikTok. We appreciate that. As we do have one final segment here we want to go with. And of course, we started this on Monday. We're always looking for unbiased Eagle opinions. And you guys know when it comes to Philadelphia Eagle fans, the one thing you will never get is an unbiased point of view. Not sure we're going to get it here either, but Dan in the house, ready to roll, continuing to don the green. You threw me for a loop on Monday. I gave you the floor for an Eagle unbiased opinion, and your ass rolls out a Mahomes prop, and now you're going head-to-head against Bryan Power. So I'm hoping today might be a little bit more unbiased Eagle-centric here. What are you looking at?
Well, I tried to stave off the hate by giving a Chiefs prop right out of the gate, and still Joe, the chat, burying me, saying that one's going to lose and siding with BP. So I really can't win, right? But all that matters is we have a winning ticket at the end of the day. a lot of talk about Dallas Goedert, right? And what the tight end position will do in this game. A lot of talk about A.J. Brown, about Saquon Barkley. Where the talk hasn't fallen, Joe, has been on my man Devontae Smith. And I think we are definitely doing a major disservice if you're not eyeing Devontae Smith props, because the most bet prop in this game is people looking towards Dallas Goedert overs. And sure, they might hit. It makes a heck of a lot of sense because if they're loading the box, they're trying to get, Saquon Barkley taken out of the game. That would beg to make sense that you would be looking for, some checkdowns, some things that are over the middle, which is where Dallas Goedert feasts. However, who also feasts there is Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith against Steven Spagnuolo defenses, 7 catches, 122 yards, 7 catches, 100 yards, 6 catches, 99 yards. That's in the 3 career games facing off against Spags, who is a terrific game planner. The way I'm going to attack it is take about 2 to 3 units and sprinkle some different Devontae Smith props. I was looking at his longest reception. We've already seen that steamed up a little bit, so why not look towards his over 4.5 receptions? I project him to have right around 5, 6. So sitting at minus 111, over 4.5 total receptions for Devontae Smith is a way that I'd like to attack it. And you're also seeing this conventional wisdom that if the Chiefs win the coin toss, they're definitely going to defer. So taking some Eagles props early in this game, I think is a good way to attack it. So that's also why at a nice plus 550, the sprinkle is going to be Devontae Smith for me to be the first receiver to reach 20 or more receiving yards. Again, Joe, if you're splitting this up, you're looking at about 1.5 units on that Devontae Smith at a nice minus 111 price at over the 4.5, and throw that other half unit on that plus 550. I think it's a great way to attack the game. Is that unbiased enough? I mean, it's not saying the Eagles are going to roll over them, but it's saying, hey, the Eagles will have a chance to move the ball against this defense. Maybe don't highlight the 3 top guys that everyone's betting. Still a guy who's pretty heavily featured in this offense would be worth a look towards a wager.
Well, listen, if we learned anything from a couple of years ago, right, the more pressure that the Kansas City Chiefs got on Jalen Hurts, the more he was looking for A.J. Brown. So if that same holds true, A.J. Brown is his guy. If it ain't going to be Goddard, it's going to be A.J. Brown, which to me, take away Brown, and who's that? You're going to have to go one-on-one with Devonta Smith at some place. So he was the guy that I would target. And he didn't have a great year, by the way. So there are a lot of people down on him, which creates a ton of value in this game because I don't think they're letting Brown beat him this year. He had a great game, but so did Smith 2 years ago. But there's no doubt A.J. Brown is his go-to security valve, especially on the blitz.
I think the other thing, too, is because of what a bar Devontae Smith had set for himself, that's why you're maybe looking at it being a down year. But sneakily, he's gone over his props because that yardage has dropped down here. You've seen it ticked up a little bit, but I completely agree with you. If the game plan is stop Saquon Barkley and take A.J. Brown off over the top, the Eagles aren't just going to throw their hands up and keep going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That would surprise me. I think you could see some back and forth affairs. Someone's going to have the ball open. What shied me off of Dallas Goedert, Joe, is just because that's the only thing you're seeing in the marketplace. And when everybody is on one prop, it's just something that I'm not in the business of joining on with the wave, especially in a game like this. So I think that's why you maybe hit this Devontae Smith action while you still can, because I think the number continues to climb. But that over 4.5 receptions makes a heck of a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm always skeptical of everybody. In their first move was to everyone's backing Goddard. But why? Oh, because Kansas City was the worst defense against tight ends. So what do you think? You think they're going to let that can't change? I mean, you know, what did Spags do to the number 1 rushing offense a year ago with a very healthy Christian McCaffrey? How'd that work out for them there? So whatever you think you may have seen doesn't mean you're going to see it here with 2 weeks to prepare. So I'm with you. Look for where everybody else isn't looking, and that could be.
And Joe, our friend Wash Redskin here in the chat saying, I'm going to cry if the Eagles win. You and me both watch Redskin, but I feel like for different reasons. So, good luck to the NFC East faithful on both ends of the spectrum. And it sounds like keep the tissues ready either way of what happens here.
Yep, I am with you here, Dano. Another very unbiased opinion. Always. By a Philadelphia Eagles fan for you guys. Hit that like button if you haven't done so. Shout out to Paul Bowman, man. Always a pleasure to see you. Loves the fact that Kenny Pickett gets to wrap up the show. Always with an unbiased opinion. I'm not sure. Don't blame me, Dan. It wasn't my fault. That's all Paul. Shout out to Birdie One, by the way, Adam, as well as Black Red Hood over on TikTok. 10,000 followers now on TikTok. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't done so already. And of course, the opportunity to partner up with your favorite handicapper from this big game till next year's still available at a great price, guys. Right now, Super Bowl to Super Bowl, hop on board to your favorite handicapper at WagerTalk.com. That's it for just $11.99. You're going to get every play, all access. That is how you do it. That is how you invest. That is how you partner up with these guys. And that is how you make money. That is what it is all about. Shout out to BP, Bryan Power, Andy Lang, of course, Art DiCesare. We appreciate him stopping by, and Gianni the Greek, as always. And of course, the unbiased opinion from an Eagles fan. Always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Do give us that like button on the way out, but make plans. We'll be back again tomorrow with more info, more props, more sides, more totals across all the sports. We'll see you again for another edition of Wager Talk Today. Good luck, guys. We'll see you again then.